a driver of homelessness for a lot of women. Will this funding help those shelters that we know are often at capacity and having to turn women and children away?
Well, that's precisely it. There's been no commitment to go for funding for core service delivery. It's for programs. Once again, we're called upon to innovate, to put something together for another grant application. Whereas, is this going to help women's shelters have more beds? Is it going to help women's shelters to staff the shelter so that they can respond to women and children experiencing violence? That really remains unclear. And noting again that in many places in this country, no such services exist currently. We do know that domestic family sexual violence is intimately linked with housing. And we know what a dire problem housing insecurity is in this country. And domestic family sexual violence drives homelessness. Here in the Northern Territory, our peak organisation, NT Shelter, is saying that 54% of the people that they're seeing are homeless because of domestic family sexual violence. So with this grant round, great, the money is there, but it also needs to be coupled with long-term investment in core service delivery and long-term investment in things like housing, addressing the drastic rates of homelessness in this country, addressing the drastic rates of overcrowding and poverty and disadvantage. We need to see substantial long-term investment that really tackles the underlying drivers of domestic family sexual violence and begin to dismantle the many obstacles and barriers that are in the way of people seeking help when they're experiencing violence.
Some of this funding, the government says, is directed at men's services and prevention. How important is that when it comes to addressing domestic and family violence?
Look, it's absolutely crucial. So we do need to invest in primary prevention and early intervention, so to really disrupt those trajectories towards violence. We need to look at where we can intervene earlier, and in order to do that, we really do need to work with men who are using violence. However, you can't fund those initiatives at the expense of responses, crisis responses, things like women's shelters. We need to do all of that. And in missing from all of this is funding for recovery services as well. And if we begin to think of recovery as a form of prevention, we had the Australian maltreatment study come out earlier this year, which found that 39% of Australians have been exposed to domestic violence as children. And we know that we have incredibly high rates in Australia, with 1 in 3 women experiencing intimate partner violence, some form of that in their lifetime. So we do need to invest in primary prevention and early intervention, but we still also need to make sure that our crisis responses have adequate, long-term, secure funding. And yes, we would very much welcome more programs and initiatives to work with men.
Dr. Shae Brown there, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.